that there were two fronts in this war. One right here in the United States of America. In order for them to complete their objective, there must not be what happened in the 60s, a rise of the people in the streets of America. So they must silence voices of dissent, silence activists, bring organizations that would oppose this into court, call them enemy combatants, remove from them due process. Thus, the Patriot Act was rushed through Congress to give power to this country to take away the rights of the American people. As black people, we already understand. As black people, we know what America is capable of doing. The things that you've seen on television recently that show Iraqi soldiers being tortured, stripped naked, being made to look like they're performing lewd acts on one another. The rape of Iraqi women by American soldiers. The whole Muslim world is seeing this. And the whole Muslim world is rising in an anger and a hatred that has never been. And soon it will be that no American will be able to travel because they will kill Americans in the Arab and Muslim world. You may not like what I'm saying. You may be angry with me. But I have a mission. And I'm looking to God for my protection. I'm saying to you, beloved brothers and sisters, and the people of America, and the people of the world, this time is so dangerous that if America does not change course, as a George W. brought America into existence as the first president, a George W. will take America out of existence, and you will witness the ruin of the greatest nation in the history of the present world. Now, the Patriot Act deprives us of First Amendment rights. The Patriot Act deprives us of Fourth Amendment acts, Sixth Amendment guarantees, 15th and 16th Amendment guarantees. Can you imagine? The soldiers are there fighting for Iraqi freedom, while the freedom that they thought they had is being diminished at home. When Senator John Kerry came back from Vietnam, he was a dissenter. He could throw away medals. He could stand up and speak against the war in Vietnam. If these come back, they will come back to a different environment. The Patriot Act will silence them. Did you know that in Iraq for the last 12 years, those people have lived under the poison of dirty bombs that have poisoned their water, the air, and the land? And now American soldiers have been in that environment for over a year, and now it's going on 2 years. When they come home, and the diseases begin to afflict them like Agent Orange began to afflict the Vietnam veterans, will the government of America deny them the help and support that they need? They're talking about those that are dead, but go to Walter Reed Hospital. See the thousands that are wounded by this war, their limbs gone, their faces disfigured over nothing but the greed of a few people who have hijacked the government of the United States of America. An election is coming up. An election is coming up. The most serious election in the history of this nation, because whoever becomes president will have the awesome responsibility of saving the lives of the American people. My dear black brothers and sisters and Hispanic brothers and sisters, I know that you are Democrats. And I know that you want Senator Kerry to win. You're registering people to vote in unprecedented numbers. But I say to the black leadership, don't you herd our people to the polls before you put before Senator Kerry an agenda that is in the best interest of the masses of our people. If you betray our people and the suffering masses that want to be relieved, then your leadership is finished. This is the last time that you will herd our votes into the hand of any political leader without having the necessary strength to put before such a leader those issues that affect our lives. Senator Kerry at Howard University recently, when the question of reparations was raised, he said no to reparations. No to reparations. Because he said it would divide the country and it would not heal the wounds. John Conyers, our congressman, put before the Congress H.R. 40, something to just study the question of reparations. And Congress refuses to even study this question, which means to us that the Congress is not interested in justice for us. Mr. Kerry, I wish I had in front of me what Martin Luther King said about moderate whites. Martin Luther King, before he passed from us, thank you, said, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizens' counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. Senator Kerry, you come off as a moderate, a white moderate, who prefers order. Don't disturb order by asking for a study of whether black people deserve reparations. Let's not go back to the past, they say. But remember the Alamo. Remember Pearl Harbor. Remember the Holocaust, but forget what you have suffered. We, the blacks in America, deserve to be repaired. We are a broken people, and we need to be repaired. How, Senator Kerry, can you heal the racial divide? By sweeping the principle of justice under the rug. When a husband and a wife have disagreement, if they don't address the reason for the disagreement, the gap between the two continues to widen until the division between them is irreconcilable. Therefore, they have to go before a judge for separation or divorce. And then they must look at the assets that they helped the husband to accrue and share it with the woman who is seeking relief. Well, here we are with you. We helped you build this country. We fought, bled, and died to maintain this country. You don't want to see the horror of the transatlantic slave trade and the inhumanity of what we suffered. You say, but the present generation had nothing to do with it. That is true. But the present generation of Germans had nothing to do with what happened to the Jews of yesterday, but they're paying reparations. It's not about what you did. It's about a responsibility to correct a wrong that must be corrected. We were robbed of the knowledge of ourselves. And for 300 years, we were reduced to a subhuman level as chattel. And we lived under lynching and segregation and Jim Crow and injustice and police brutality and racial profiling up to this very moment. Don't we deserve consideration? If you want our vote in this most critical election, I'm warning the black leadership. Don't sell out your people for that which the Quran calls that which happened to the magicians of Pharaoh. They were promised wealth and nearness to Pharaoh. And a slave may want some money and to be seen in the halls of power, but no justice coming to the suffering masses. I conclude by saying I have been a faithful warner to you. I know that the Sanhedrin will meet after this speech, and they will decide what to do with me. You may do as you please. But if the country is to survive, it must renounce and repudiate the doctrine of the neoconservatives and distance this country from their agenda. If America is to survive, she must not use the might of America to fight the battles of Israel and allow herself to be used to destroy the real or perceived enemies of Israel. I must say with truth that I know that this president is bound to the neoconservative agenda, and it is in their best interest to have President Bush re-elected. I am hoping that there will not be any terrorist activity in America that will kill many more Americans to facilitate a political and economic agenda. I warn you in my conclusion. If you go in this wider war, you will fight the war of Armageddon. It's right at your door. Soon you'll be fighting